I like what you said there about the benchmark and having a reference point because I attribute it to health. Like I tell people every year you go and you get your annual physical. And how do they know if something's wrong? They know if something's wrong because something's different because it's based on all the data that they've gotten every year for your whole life. And all of a sudden you walk in and they go, well, hold on a second, Benmont, your blood pressure was this last year, your weight was this last year, or your cholesterol was this last year. It's way up or it's way down. Now let's test further to feel like what is happening here. And I feel like starting out that people make these assumptions and they make changes in days or weeks. And it's like you haven't given it enough time to build up like what's a normal expectation and result for your business. So what are you measuring it against? So when you talked about starting out there, talk about for somebody new getting into KPIs and figuring out how to do that. What's like a good benchmark? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year before you go, and we've given it some time to see what works. And now we go and we start tinkering with things.
Yeah, that's a super, super common question, and that's patience, right? Time
Yeah.
is the only thing you can't buy your way. You can't buy more of it, and you can't buy it to pass quicker. You know, when we talk about KPIs, the first thing always is like ask for influence. But as you mentioned, blood work, you don't show up to the doctor and they're like, yeah, another 38-year-old guy just left. So you should have similar realities, right? It's like we're just different. So there is no apples to apples comparison. So don't compare yourself to somebody else. You don't know how much time has passed. You don't know what their market looks like. Use it for influence and inspiration, never for comparative analysis to your business or your project or whatever you're working on. That's one. That would give you what I kind of call like directionally accurate input to say, okay, cool. If I want to do PPC advertising, I talk to three people and the average cost of that is $5,000 for whatever. So then you have an idea, because with the idea, it becomes very mathematic. That will tell the story of like, if I spend this money, here's what should happen first, here's what should happen second, third, fourth, and we'll use real estate. So it's like if I deploy money on PPC advertising and I have a $5,000 budget, right, and lead cost is $500, I expect 10 leads. If you don't get 10 gross leads, and you're sitting around waiting for a contract to show up or whatever you need, right, you're just lying to yourself. So you can't wait for the end result. So when you say how long, it depends, right? If we said, hey, we're going to spend this money, we should see an immediate response. We have gross leads, we have qualified leads, we have appointments set, appointments attended, contracts written, and then like, right, revenue closed. If you're waiting for revenue closed, that's a hopeful strategy. And I wish you the best, but you're going to need a lot of luck on your side. So the best thing to do when it comes to planning a budget or patience or time is measuring all of those, lead, middle, and lag metrics. And you get to a point in time where you can immediately, delineate or depict where things are working or where they're not working. And then once you identify that, like anything, like a mechanic, once you narrow down to where the car is broken, you work on it. And then you quickly can fix it and then you move on again, right? So it becomes this math equation that doesn't lie, and then you just need to support it and you need to stay committed to it. So that's why and where we take emotion out of it, and we say, okay, cool, like this is what we're going to do. We're going to stay committed to this program. And oftentimes, most oftentimes, the outcome of people's disappointment is the lack of consideration, planning, or awareness to what they expect to happen. I see it multiple times a day where somebody will spend an amount of money that the math says they get zero point 0.4 deals out of. And I'm going to ask, I'll put you on the spot, Nick. We'll see how good you are at math. If you have zero point 0.4 of a deal, how much money does that yield you at the end of that month?
Zero.
Zero. So at
Yeah.
month two, you have zero point 0.8 of a deal. So you still have zero unless the odds go against you. So if you're not equipped to run that play for 3 months to get to what math says is 1.2 deals with the expectations, right? Who are we lying to? Ourselves, or we're hoping that the windfall odds come in the first 30 days? And that could be the case, right? You could get, lucky, or that one lead that you want to convert happens sooner than later. But over time, you kind of play the casino game, right? Like you play the odds to have a winning formula that lets you sleep at night, that has consistent revenue. And all of those things come back to a very objective outcome. And that's more of like optimizing and understanding where you're spending your money and what you think is going to happen, as opposed to like, I'm just going to spend money and then we'll see what happens. And it kind of is as simple as that without overcomplicating, is just come up with a plan, and then the plan just needs
Yeah.
executed, and that's it. So we'll make it sound that easy for the sake of today.